Ladies and gentlemen, right now, we want to bring forth to the stage a very special guest, the undisputed.
Nah, son, baby. And this is another episode.
Can't help but swing it, boy. Swing it, brother, swing.
And this is your host. Nah, son, baby. Here we go.
Microphone check 1212. This is your host, not some, baby. And this is another episode of Swingers After Dark. And I'm with, Diamond Key. Diamond, because she shines like a diamond. And, you know what they say, first impressions are everything, but I had a bad first impression because, my dick couldn't get hard, it could not get hard. It was Meatloaf when, her and the chick, her and the chick, they serviced me.
Oh, the white girl.
Yeah,
I all about that.
Yes. I was. You know what's funny? Before that, I played with my ex for the first time, so I didn't have a chance to recover. So I didn't expect y'all to pull me aside and do what y'all did. And plus, your ex at the time was in the room too. And when he was with another group, it was like he always walked around with a mean mug. So when I saw him in the room, laying on the bed, seeing what we were doing, it added on to me not being attracted to the shorty who were with you. It was like, damn, what I'm going to do? I can't run. They got me up against the wall. You and the other chick had me against the wall.
She had her eye on you. She said, if anything, I want him. I said, oh, he nice people. I ain't never played with him before. She was like, I want him. I said, so you want to go get him? She was like, what if he don't like me? I said, you go after what you want. Watch this. So that's when we
No.
That's when we tried to corner you, and she was like, I don't think he likes me.
No. I wanted you solo because during the club seduction days, I saw you in a butt naked room, and I tried to get you walking in a staircase, and you was ass naked, but you had places to go and people to see, so I really couldn't get you. And then
that was back when I first came back, so that wasn't. You probably would catch me when I wasn't even playing yet. I had left the lifestyle for like 4.5 years.
Oh, okay.
That was like my first season back.
Okay, so where did you start?
I came in 2005. So I've been around for a long time. Came in as Charmin, went from Charmin to my regular nickname Kiki.
Oh, wait. I mean, that's listen, Charmin fits you perfectly because your ass is softer than Charmin. Ow. Anyway, keep going.
Thank you. Well, from 2005 to 2009, I actively participated, started my own group, had great parties. The culture started changing. It started getting a little too cliquish and a whole lot of extra drama, we'll say, that was not involved when I first came in. So I decided to retire. I retired for 4.5 years, but I came back because I was a little bored with my regular vanilla life, looking to see if I could spice things up. And that's pretty much the year you met me. That was 2014 in the hallway in Chapel Heights, Maryland. So,
wow, you remember.
I have a photogenic memory.
I'm impressed because that's when I started going to Maryland, DMV.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I thought the DMV was my sanctuary. It was my secret hideout, but then all the up north motherfuckers caught wind to it. And I'm like, damn, I can't shake any of you motherfuckers off. So it started to, integrate. And it's crazy. When I first started partying in the DMV, and for the DMV, for those who are slow in the head, DMV means DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Anywho, I went to, I used to catch the bus from New York to, DC, and then catch the metro to Largo to catch the cab to Capitol Heights.
Wow.
To the country. Listen. Listen. I like to travel. I'm a wanderer, so that's nothing to me. You dig?
You sure you wanted to travel for the good sexual experience, or you just like to travel?
Well, I was. Yeah, I ain't gonna front. Like it was some good pussy in the DMV, so I ain't gonna front. But anyway, so when I first came into the scene, the people in the DMV, they was like, if I don't know you, fuck you. You understand? Like it wasn't like it is now where everything is open. You know, you have a saying, no closed doors, but you couldn't go into people's room back then because they wouldn't allow you in your room if they didn't know you. So I think it's funny how things change from then to now. Because it's more open now.
That wasn't always the case. Because when I first came in, that's how it was. But when I left, that's what it was trending to, because it was starting to be more of a turn-up environment versus the actual lifestyle where everybody comes together for the like-minded of, you know, playing or finding something in common and just enjoying the atmosphere. And we're fucking at these behind closed doors and you can't see anything. So that was one of the reasons I left too, because things were just different. And plus, I'm sure you know as well as some of the DMV as well, I'm one of the people that live in my own world. I don't care what nobody says. I've always went to beat my own drum. So I've always been one to specialize in allowing people to be themselves, whether it was in an environment with a whole lot of people or whether an environment you didn't want to be judged. So we called it an underground. So it depended on what you were looking for, what we gave you.
Wait. Tell me. Listen, I got a bone to pick with you because I don't know about your staff now because I haven't been around that much. But back then, I mean, I was mad because you would not even invite me to your underground parties. You had some sexy ass staff and patrons to come to your house and get it in, and you did not invite me. I'm hurt, yo. I'm
gonna be honest. The underground wasn't just invite. It was, I'll say, behavior. I had a knack for watching people and talking to them, finding out who was into what, and it started to be an overall consensus that people could not be themselves at a party, whether they wanted to do some old threesome, foursome shit or a whole quadruple butt naked and have anybody join in without it being talked about. So that's how the underground came about. And unless you were a couple that pretty much frequented a lot of the events I did or I talked to, or you were a single, I usually wouldn't have said anything. If anything, I waited until the people came to me. And you at that time, you and I were always cool, but you were in a beautiful relationship at the time, and I didn't want to disrespect or assume anything. So I'm sure she heard, you heard, and I said if you guys were interested, eventually the buzz would get to you and you would say something so that she could get the invite.
Yeah,
I apologize for that.
No, it's all good. Speaking of your infamous underground parties, you know, I had to kind of like shy away from your drinks. You know what I'm saying? Because speaking of my ex, you know, she had a little bit of that sippy sip, and she had to go to your room. So I was kind of leery about sipping on your drink because I don't know what I was getting.
Well, the drink itself, I'm going to be honest, there were more than one. The regular house punch, I'm not going to lie, I have a very good knack of making sure that the drink is strong, does what it needs to, completely legal.
Listen, fuck strong. Them shits was on steroids. That's why I shied away from it, you know. But
it allows you to be yourself.
Cause liquor and my hormones don't mix. I can't fuck when I'm drunk. I need like Gatorade and water. That's why I don't like to have sex in the morning. I need to be hydrated, goddammit. So I need to make sure that my dick can work so we wouldn't have any technical difficulties like we had when we, not the first met, but the first time we had a little bit of intimacy. You did? Well,
tell me something. Had you ever heard that my punch knocked anybody out like that for real? Men-wise, when it came down to what you needed to do after the fact?
Listen, I just know my body. I have knowledge of self, so I know what made me goes on. The only time I really drink is, you know, if I'm just chill. So if I just want to chill, but I just drink water and Gatorade the whole time, especially when I see a chick and I want to knock her off and, you know, I don't want to fuck up that chance. But
I can respect it.
But so when you came back, did you expect the lifestyle to change for the better or come back the same as you left? To see it the same way you left?
I was hoping it was going to be somewhat of where I first came in, not when I left. Because things were trending to a different way back when I left. When I first came in, the men dressed a certain kind of way. Everybody was well-groomed. I'm not going to lie, the parties were a little more expensive because it wasn't meant for everybody to attend the parties. It was just a different overall clientele and just vibe when you walked into a place. By the time I left, it seemed like everybody's parties was $25. Anybody could come. The guys no longer cared if their boxers didn't match the T-shirts, so they wasn't as well groomed as usual. I started seeing girls in flip-flops and all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm going to be honest, in my particular image, I didn't allow that because I felt like if I'm asking for something, I should be able to represent what I'm asking for. And I tried to, in so many words, attract what I wanted to see at the events by being that same thing as well. But once I went outside of my own parties, I would always run into that.
All right, so what's the difference between being in a triad to being a single woman and being in a relationship with just one person? What's the difference between the three?
Okay, so being in an actual relationship,
yes. Not a relationship.
Okay, so a regular relationship and a triad relationship, right?
Yes.
All right. So usually the regular relationship itself was two people. They did things together with the consensus that it was just about them. No other people could stay. You would enjoy the atmosphere, and the atmosphere was then left there. It wasn't anything after the fact with one person doing extra with somebody else. It was everything joint as a couple. It wasn't too much of anybody just lingering, whether it's one person or couples. You pretty much were into each other and you enjoyed everything together. However, triad usually it started as a couple. Sometimes people are likely to have blessed enough to have three people start out, and those three people share all the same things, whether it's love, whether it's your experience, whether it's your rules, and everything under that umbrella. I'll be honest, I'm one of the few people that have had the joys of being single, having a poly, a true one, and then having a regular relationship, then being back to single, and then I'm for couple. So I've been around for a while, and I've been doing all of them. And for the most part, I would say they all could be whatever you make it. It's just what that person's likelihood of enjoying themselves, most likely in what environment will be.
So do you find that you get more male attention when you're single as opposed to being in a relationship?
Me, no. I always get the same attention, but the different respect of how things are attended to or approached is a little different when you're single versus being a couple or being a poly. Yes.
No, because I asked because I remember seeing you at the gala when you were in a relationship. Then a year or two later, I think you was in a relationship, but your man was not there. It was just you. So what is the difference between going to events single as opposed to going to events in a relationship? Because my first event after my breakup, it was weird as fuck. So, it was like I didn't know what to do with myself because I'm so used to being with somebody to the point where when I'm single and I'm in a relationship, it's like, damn. You know what I'm saying? It's like not working. It's like going from a 9 to 5 and now you're an entrepreneur. So is it a different feel or is it the same?
Oh, no, it's a different feel. And when you saw me at the gala, I actually was single. I had been single for a year and maybe 8 months at that point because the immediate breakup after the year that I broke up with my last person, it was somewhat in the fall, but that following year I went to the gala, I did not go by myself. I was accompanied by a good friend, Sam Odom, beautiful gentleman, and Cash actually was with me as well. So we just all went as friends. It was a little different the following year after that because I didn't take a date with me at all. So I believe that's when you saw me. I didn't have anybody with me, and it was definitely different.
I want to know about the infamous Boom Boom Room. Where did you get that from? Because y'all used to turn up in a Boom Boom Room.
I mean, that was one of those places where you got it on. It was on and popping. No matter what it was you was looking for, you was gonna find it. But you had to be with it to come into the room because a lot of times, even though all of us say we're open, we're all non-judgmental. That's a complete bullshit as lie. And some of us, even as open as I am, I hate to feel like there's an entity in the room that might disturb the atmosphere of what you're trying to either indulge in or what is already taking place. So even though being a voyeur isn't a bad thing in some atmosphere around some people, if you're not a voyeur in the right space, it can definitely take away from the environment. For instance, if you're in there and you got your nose frowned up, or you're talking to the person you walked in there with, or you're just not into the environment, you're just in there gawking. To me, there's a difference between being a voyeur and enjoying the scene versus going in there gawking or being nosy. Totally different. And unlike some people, by me being an empath, I can feel and notice all of it instantly. So I know if I can feel it, I know somebody else that may be nervous and may not be as open as me will have an even worse experience. So any room that I had the pleasure of controlling, I tried to control that atmosphere so that everybody in the room stayed comfortable. It wasn't about people being slick or nothing like that. It's just keeping the atmosphere on the right track. And if you're in there with all your clothes and watching and gawking, why are you even in there?
So tell me, your transition from first getting into the lifestyle to owning and running a group.
Oh, well, when I came in, I'm not going to lie, it was something out of a Zane book. I didn't know, first of all, black people did stuff like this. I remember the very first party I went to, it was kind of a joke because a gay young lady in my office, I had, again, no idea of swinging, told me she was going to take me to a hedonism party. First of all, I'm going to be honest, don't judge me. I didn't know what hedonism party meant. I just knew she said wear a bathing suit, and for some reason it made the back of my neck hair stand up instantly. I knew something was up, but I could not figure out exactly what it was. Now, also, this young lady was a little younger than me, and she decided to bring her and like 3 other women as her little entourage. So my closest friend at the time, who was also vanilla and very married, I made her go with me because I didn't, first off, have a lot of experience with women. I didn't know what I was getting into, and I needed somebody just in case something weird went down. So we go to Baltimore.
Wait. Before you get to the Baltimore part, didn't you used to strip? How you gonna say you?
I never stripped. See, wow, where did you get that from?
I thought you told me you used to strip. Listen.
No.
You could have fooled me because the way you know how to work the pole and your outfits, you look like you get your script on. You feel me? So
I'm gonna be honest. I have never professionally danced except for modern ballet. I was in the band in my high school. I was a cheerleader. I'm a dancer by craft, but exotic dancing to get paid, I've never in my life done it. Now, I will tell you, twice in my life, I wanted to see if I had it. So back in the day, they used to have a club called The Wet in the Edge. I remember one time being with some girls, and I got into an amateur contest, and I danced. And then also, I know everybody's familiar with Adrienne. Some people now, they refer to her as Vanilla, and she has her own situation that she used to dance for down in West Virginia. I danced down there with her in a contest before, but I've never professionally danced. I've been in banking since I was 19.
Yeah, you look like you work the pole, like the way you work the pole. I'm not talking about the other pole. I'm talking about the pole. So I was impressed.
Thank you. No, that came all with me watching and pulling out my inner sexy person, as I say, my alter ego. She likes to do all that stuff. But I personally, I can never do that. I don't shun up on nobody or judge anybody that does, but I couldn't do something like that for a living.
All right, so you was going to Baltimore, and then what?
Okay, so I remember we go in this really nice hotel, but all of a sudden we go to the back of the hotel and go down this long corridor, and I see these 2 huge men in front of this big stairwell, and they're asking me what a password is. So I'm looking at the young lady with me. She says the password. We go down in this dark corridor, again, and all these bright, beautiful, steamy-looking lights come up. And they tell us to eventually go dress down and get comfortable. And I remember seeing white shears moving and steam against another wall. I had no idea what I was in. But once my peripheral really came to view, I noticed that we were in a place that had a jacuzzi room, a steam room, a dance floor that had shears off of the dance floor, and it had private rooms in that place that had different TVs in each bunkle. And just so happened, Bernie, I don't know if you know him, but he's been in this a long time. He was the one hosting this event. when I tell you it was sexy at its best, but at the same time, I couldn't enjoy myself completely because the young girls I was with the whole time was like, oh my gosh, you don't even know that person. What are they doing? And when I listened to the voices and followed them to the left, there was this huge orgy room with nothing but, I would say, beds on the floor and a huge porno playing against the wall. And yes, people were having great sex. And I was like, oh my God. And me and my best friend stayed in there and just watched. So my first time I didn't do anything. I just knew I got to do this without those girls. I want to see what this is really about. And so that's when I started venturing out. I was what they call eye candy for a long time. I didn't do too much anything. I would dance naked.
Oh, you're one of those.
Have a good time. I was.
Yeah.
I really was, because I still didn't know that it was safe for me to relax and really enjoy the atmosphere without somebody judging me. But once I did start relaxing, I had never been with a woman before either. I did have a best friend that had her way with me, but I had never done anything.
She got turned out.
I did, man. But it scared me to the point that I was like, I don't know if I could ever do something like this. But once I got in that atmosphere, because everything was so sexy, everything was so welcoming and non-judgmental there, it allowed me to then explore it. And I did eventually start getting with women, and people told me, you should start doing parties. And the reason for it was back then, it was nothing but males. I remember one group particularly that was still out, had female influence, that was Second Limited. They did it unlike no other as well, but it still was headed up by a man. So I was going to be the first female, so I took that as a challenge and said, well, let me look at everybody's party and see how I can make this different and cater to women, where it doesn't feel like if we're not in this sexy club type atmosphere and we're going to someone's home, it still has the same allure. So that's where Pandora's Box years ago came from, and it flourished.
So we gonna get into some heavy shit. Well, heavy depending on whom you ask. So, as a group owner, how do you handle like nights that don't go exactly to plan? Like the time when popos, because you had nosy ass neighbors calling the cops, and then we had to move from Port Washington. Is that Fort Washington? Fort Washington.
Oh, you talk about the Generation X pool party.
Yeah, you had yellow birds flying around, and then we had to go to your party. I mean, not to your party. We had to go from Fort Washington to your place, and it was mad people. So how do you improvise? Tell the people as a promoter, how do you improvise when one venue gets shuts down and you have to take your show on the road or figure out how to accommodate your guests?
Well, I'm going to be honest, that was the first and only time I had went through that, and that's because of the size of the event, and it was my ex's birthday party at the time. He was just as popular as I was. But we also merged with another group, King Fantasy at the time. King Fantasy was a little younger, but they followed us too. And by our group and their group merging, it gave us 378 people for this particular house. Now, although we were very quiet, it was a sexy place.
It was quiet,
it wasn't even 10 o'clock.
It was quiet.
Yeah, we didn't know that house prior to us renting it already had strikes against it for noise ordinance because it was a retirement community. I did notice it was a very nice neighborhood. That's why we picked it. But we had no idea that the house was already being watched for parties. So by 10:02 p.m. when SWAT came and told us to shut down, I'm going to be honest, I told everybody, hey, party's over. A lot of people came back and got their money. If not everybody. And we didn't have a problem with it because we completely understood. But then people was like, well, where are you going? I was like, well, we're going home. Next thing you know, a lot of those people already knew where we lived, and it was Generation X formed on in my neighborhood. Luckily for me, none of my neighbors called the cops, but they were people on both sides of the street. I had no idea how we were going to handle it. So luckily, at the time, it was myself and two other group owners here. So everybody took people and started new parties.
Yeah, it was like the Freakness at your house. And it's crazy because. Yeah, it's crazy because I didn't know that your basement was capable of holding like 300 people.
No, it wasn't. That's why we had to get rid of them. It was standing room only. It was embarrassing. I was like, I can't function like this. This is a hazard. So luckily when the party dissipated and we were able to get rid of most of the people, It was a little less chaotic, but for me it was still chaotic because it was still over 100-something people. And I prefer parties that are a lot smaller and intimate. So I'll be honest, that was one of the nights that we've never repeated for that reason. And I'm praying that it never happens again in anything that I have my name on. But people were very understanding, and we did make best of what we had with the people that did stick around. So people did eventually have their fun, but I was a total mess the whole night. And what I would say to another group owner, if that ever happens, I mean, as calm as you are and you stay, that'll dictate how your persons that are patronizing your event will feel and take the upsetting situation. Because if you start to take things out of whack and you are making a big fuss or you're not as warm and inviting as you usually are, that can add to the mass hysteria. So because I kept the drinks flowing, I tried to keep people comfortable, and I just was me, even though on the inside I really wasn't. People, they were fine. And they still talk about that as one of the best ones. And to me, that was like one of the worst events ever. Right?
So, and how you deal with even, crucial moments? Like, I remember, I heard about a certain Valentine's Day party. I'm like, you got bitches stabbing motherfuckers now. So how did you deal with that?
Okay, that was another joint party. And that's why I don't do joint events too often. Because there's different caliber of people that will come through that you don't have the option of knowing who they are, where they came from. Therefore, your control is a little stricken just a little.
So
that party was the depth to the cuff bluff, and we did that with another younger group. And because of what happened, I'm not going to say what the name of that group is out of respect to them. However, one of the patrons that came to their party, I guess she was dealing with another group owner and his girl at the time, and things was not going well. And the girl evidently was high off of dippers, I think they said.
She was on that wet.
Yeah, she was bad. And next thing you know, she perceived that she was under attack, and she started fighting the young lady that was in the room. Security was called, and for some reason, that woman, I don't know where she pulled that knife from, but she started shanking people, and cops were called, and it was an ugly situation. It was in Waldorf at a hotel down there. And, of course, that was one of the events that was another monumental reason why, again, staying in your own lane with your own people seems to have been a lot safer, a lot more calm, tranquil, and a lot less disastrous. Because, again, even though the other party that we did with the other group had over 300-something people, it got shut down. That was a learning experience. But that party there, because of the violence that took place, being with the younger crowd that was more so turn up than we older in lifestyle, it just wasn't a good mix.
So what was going through your mind when you found, like the chick, it was attempted murder, pretty much. So,
yeah, she did time for that.
Yeah, so what was going through your head when you found out, people at the party got stabbed, they got shanked, they got OJ? How did you feel about that? What was going through your head?
I didn't want to be in the lifestyle anymore or host anymore after that. And it took me a while from that point to start doing parties again. I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 months, but then our core started asking for us to do things, and so that's when we started doing things back at a private home again. But then that itself, of course, after a while, started getting too big. So then we just shut that down completely because I didn't even want to take a chance of anything happening, especially in the comforts of your own home. So how's like dealing with a breakup, especially a high publicized breakup? How do you deal, especially when it's public, when everybody knows? How do you deal with that? It's hard because a lot of times you don't want to stoop to people's mentality, but a lot of times it don't be as bad as what people perceive. But then once people start putting their own little 2 cents into it, playing 2 sides to the middle, as I like to say, or just being phony about the situation, running back telling one person one thing and then telling you another, or trying to be friends with both, but giving information and adding to, it could just make it even worse. And that public breakup was really hard for me. Anybody that was close to me at the time really knew that. because also it wasn't just I was breaking up. It was a long history, and of course, you know, a child involved, and just a friend, you know. So it was a really bad breakup the way things transpired. And I didn't want too many people in the business, but because you live your life in the limelight and you got people close to you that you think you can trust to see things that normally wouldn't be seen, ran back and said things, it was not as private as it should have been. But I think that he and I are in a totally different place now, to the point that even the young lady involved that he was seeing at the time, that you would think that she and I wouldn't be in a great place.
Listen,
I'm not a fighter, but I'm a little bit fighter.
I saw y'all hanging out.
We're trying to be adult and show people that even though, you know, in your worst states you can say and do things that some people may not have the adult-mindedness to get past. If you truly are trying to be one that shows people that you can grow and you can be different, and people do make mistakes and people deserve second chances, then we would be the best people to show them, because that situation was very volatile because of how everything went down. So, yeah, and we are all definitely great friends to this day, and it also helps for a good co-parenting situation as well.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of all four of y'all hanging out, and I was like, you know what? That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all able to hash things out and, you know, kick it. Because a lot of couples, you know, they go their separate ways and they don't even talk to each other. But y'all taking flicks with each other, couples, you know, two couples, and y'all have history. So it's not like
look, there ain't no sex involved. I'll be honest about that. We are all platonic friends.
Yeah. You have to point that out for the perverted motherfuckers out there who think that y'all swapping.
I've gotten so many questions. How could you do that? No, I cannot do that. That's why I'm not. You know. But at the same time, it doesn't kill me to be cordial, and somebody had to be a bigger person. So I didn't mind going to squash beef. I've done that with a lot of people, and this lifestyle that I've had situations with, some just on the same level as her, and some not as bad. But I have to make sure I did the best in my own sight to know that if I walk away from a personal situation, I didn't leave no stone unturned. And when my time comes for judgment, that won't be used against me. So I try to treat people the way I want to be treated too.
So how do you handle conflict now as opposed to in the past? Because whenever you have an issue with somebody, you be going in on your wall, and you know, it'd be entertaining. It'd be entertaining. I ain't gonna lie, you know.
But see, I'm gonna tell you what it did. It put this persona up that she drama. She got this going on, got that going on. When technically, totally opposite. I'm gonna be honest. All I just want to do is come in a place, have a good drink, see the sexy people. Okay, we get naked. That's gonna be even better. I just want to have fun. I don't want drama. But at the same time, people, they only used to see my outcome from the bear being broke. They didn't see what was happening before I did what I did. So at that point, I got tired of having to explain myself, or maybe I could have done this another way. So now what I try to do is I will try to talk to a person. If there's a serious misunderstanding that we just can't get by, I'll just let bygones be bygones. I usually still send a text or something private, but I try not to let nobody else get involved to make it bigger than it has to be. And I will be honest, I have had some major situations since then that if it had been the younger me in charge, they don't let nobody get over, as we say. Can't let nobody punk me. I ain't let nobody do me like that. But at the same time, I wasn't doing nothing but hurting myself. And I had to get to a point where I realized that, you know, because a lot of times people, they develop these feelings, say they don't like you, they don't want to deal with you, and really, they don't even know there's a total opposite side of you that they probably would grow to love if these situations wasn't in their face for them to identify you with. So I had to learn that the hard way, and I'm glad now I'm in a different place. Things do still come up because we're all human, but I've learned how to turn my back and turn the other cheek. You know, to the point.
I mean, them cheeks are big to turn. So what plans do you have in the future?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Life is so short, and
especially during this pandemic, because we don't even know when shit gonna reopen again. So we gonna be having to be fucking with masks and face shields, and You wear a body condom.
Latex bodysuits with zippers.
Shit, well, I'm gonna come to your party looking like a fucking astronaut. You did?
I know that's right. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not in the mainstream anymore because I'm gonna be honest. It's so different. I'm not even the least bit turned on by it. If anything, I treasure the small events. I treasure people that are close, that all are like-minded, no drama. Unlike some people, I never did parties because I needed it financially. Of course, you put some work into it, you do want to get compensated for it. So me walking away from doing major parties years ago was not a big strike for me. Mm-hmm. So, if something comes up, I get a spot. Everybody knows usually summertime was when, for the last couple of years, I would do really nice, sexy, intimate pool parties. And then I might do something small for my birthday here and there, because I was doing stuff at the club. But I'm just seeing where this thing leads me. I have no idea where I'll be in the future, but anything and everywhere I go, it's going to be nothing but positivity, love, and straight fucking when I'm ready. That's all that matters. So, as far as group ownership, I still, from time to time, do participate with other groups. Even my group online, because I'm in the mortgage business, I'm very busy, so I don't usually have a lot of time to go online. But my group, we've never been one to chit-chat anyway a lot, because a lot of us had good jobs. A lot of us just wanted to know, when are we getting together? I want to see you in person. We're not doing all this Facebook stuff. So we will still do stuff from time to time, but it definitely will stay on a smaller scale versus trying to come up and be on the same size as some of the bigger groups now. I'll let these people take the torch and run with it and wish them well.
Yeah, hopefully, the Southeast don't have to come out. You dig? People don't want the Southeast of DC to come out.
I said a rest in peace for her, I think, 4 years ago. And since that time, I've been kumbaya, and then if there was a difference, I've tried to make amends with people. But as far as the dog being in charge, no, she's gone. Wasn't hurting nobody but myself.
And on that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Nasun, baby. Check me out at www.nasunblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com. And check out my ebook, You, Me, Us, Them. The Swinger Manifesto. It's on Nook, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play. It'll make you say, na, ow. And shoot me an email at swingpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingpodcast@gmail.com. And hit me up with any questions or concerns that you may have. Rate, share, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. Yeah, dig. And on that note, until next time, peace.